to log on to this. Trying something different for when I'm outside, especially. I just don't know if it's gonna work because YouTube's it's pretty interesting, hit or miss with things I can do on YouTube. So let me pull up this live, see if I can at least hear myself. YouTube. So let me pull up this live, see if I can at least hear myself. And hold on, let me put this other. Oops. And put this other earbud in, and let me know. I'll ask everybody as we get going here, but as we can see, we've had a major bullish reversal resistance areas that we've spoke about for a long time. This would be an extremely bullish move if this can happen. And the age-old question of, are we already corrected enough on wave 4, or do we need to go farther down, could be answered here in one swift motion. It could legitimately be answered in one swift motion. And for anybody who's in here, well, I'll ask the question, but for anybody who's here right now, how do I sound? Does the volume sound better? Does it sound worse? Is it less muffled? I would love to know from your perspective, because it is very windy out here as well, so consider that. So sounds good. Somebody says worse. It's okay. Well, I need to know I'm going to see which way sounds better. So James, thank you so much for the $2 donation. Sounds good, a little windy. It is definitely windy. It's definitely windy. But my question was, does it sound better like this? Or does it sound better? Like, did it sound better before? Or does it sound better like this? And I'll give you guys a second to ask. Actually, that was with the headset on, what you were hearing me before. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, guys. Everybody who says I need a headset, the headset doesn't work. Because when I'm on YouTube, because of the way I had a headset on originally. That's why I asked. See? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. See, this time I don't have a headset on. That's why I always tell everybody, there's a reason I don't have a microphone. For some reason, I'm going to need a megaphone. That's what I would need. Absolutely, McMichael. The problem is trying to use a megaphone while I'm outside. But like, if I had some kind of a boom mic or something, I wouldn't be able to do it outside. But I think it's fine like this. So I was just curious, because everybody always says it. So I just put on a headset, you know, a little bit of a. Thank you all for the input. It really does help. Thank you for tuning in. If you are watching, please make sure to hit that like button so that YouTube will recommend this update or live. I greatly appreciate that. It'll help us push through the algorithm. Podcast says, have you tried a lav mic? I have not. I'll actually look into it after this. I never even thought about it, to be honest with you. But as we can see, and the problem is I can't do this inside today. Like, sometimes I just don't have the ability. Julie's cooking dinner. Her mom's here. The girls are going to be here. Michaela's got a tennis match after school. She's on the varsity team. She's a senior, so she's almost done. And Michaela's at karate, or Scarlett's at karate, and she'll be back after. So I try to do it the way I can. But anyhow, you know, there's always going to be good and bad criticism. Some people like the way I was doing in the morning. Some people hate it. You know, so it's kind of an even balance. Some people like and hate what I do. So, you know, it is what it is. So, yeah, on Thursdays we have salmon every Thursday. I like to get Norwegian salmon. It's getting expensive. It used to be $28. Now it's $33 for the same piece. So, a little bit more expensive. There was a new pope, but put it together, it's an American. If you look back, it's an American. So anyhow, I'm not getting into all of that. But, you know, let's get into this, though. Good evening. 5:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, May 8th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Very windy state of Michigan. But guys, gals, this is good today. This is good. Do you know why it's good? Look what Ethereum's doing. We've been trying to get Ethereum to just turn it around. It's turned around, folks. And that's not a joke. We've been watching what we thought was an inverse head and shoulders, and it's materialized, which means, and I always watch this, there's a few of them in our very watchings, like that actually seem to do better for whatever reason when Ethereum starts moving. I think one to keep an eye on, and it might not be down to the full head. Like, there's some of these that might just be in the process of creating this last drop. So like if you want one to watch that hasn't really done anything, that you're like, you know, it's been doing nothing, there's going to be an upgrade soon. So maybe it does need to do this and then come back out. You know, maybe this is where it can pull up and start to use this as the head, and now it just has to pull out, which is a very compelling case. If it's already got a left shoulder head and then it's going to pull up here at some point to this right shoulder. So I think that's one very compelling to watch, and it's right at that support structure, like literally right at it for the most part. You know, so that's going to be one with your best judgment. I did take a stab there and buy almost 2.2 million tokens. There's been a few position changes, but nothing major. I haven't added anything besides MXC, but I did add a little earlier to DGB while I had the chance. Even though it hasn't really done much of anything, like DGB is still vastly underperforming in my opinion. It's still it's up 9.2% right now. It's up a little bit more since I last gram, but 2 million. So DGB, I have a lot of stock in. I did not add anything over the top from what I had. I stayed on the whole, if it's on my list, well, I don't have H-bar because I added more DGB instead of rebuying back into H-bar, which that's either going to be the greatest decision of my life or one of the stupidest ones. But I have a lot of faith in DGB. But with what Ethereum's doing, this is big. We talked earlier though, and I'm kind of stuck in the middle here. And yes, I'm super bullish in the long term. It's just in the short term, again, I need to get one more confirmation here out of Ethereum. Man, this wind does suck. But sometimes there's nothing you can do. But with Ethereum, there's one thing we got to bring this kind of like this first, because we got to look at this in the, it's coming up for a retest here. The bottom line is it's coming up for a retest on the death cross, and this is where it's to make it or break it. This is why I don't know what it's doing yet. Like everybody asked me, this is a great run, right? Fan-fucking-tastic by Ethereum. But we've got to invalidate the death cross, which means we've got to get over 2,260. And until you get over that and reverse the course and ultimately reverse this, this could just be an overzealous move up because of a crazy downturn. So, I mean, we're still very much on the wrong side of town, even with such a big move. But it's the first steps of something bigger, because we already seen a pretty decisive inverse head and shoulders. It's just we knew we had to break past this resistance for it to materialize. And look what happened. Once it broke past 1855, it was over. It literally shot out a cannon and went up another 400 bucks. Like, this is what we were waiting for. And then we thought it was unlikely, even if it was bearish, to not come all the way back up here and retest 2700 area, 2670. But this could be the start of something. We don't know yet, but it's starting to layer. Of course, it's still on the wrong side of town here, big time. Hi, Scarlett. How are you? Good. But it's still on the wrong side of town, but now it's moving in a very, very fast way. And this is the way that you can start to break out of these areas. It is. It is. Where's this coming from? I think it's probably catching the wind from this speaker, if I had to guess. But, so Ethereum's giving us some hope. Bitcoin broke over the technical resistance, and now we put out 110,000, because when it gets over 99,630, that's where it's going to be aiming for. And it looks like it's going there in a very fast way. That's a big W reversal, inverse head and shoulders, broke out of a descending triangle, and it looks like it's doing what it needs to do. It looks like the weekly engulfing candle shot out again this week. We've had them 3 weeks in a row. So, like, the one other thing we needed was the Bitcoin dominance to start reversing. And guess what happened today and yesterday? Or at least today. 4% area. Breaks back below that 64% area. We are in business. Like, literal and legit fucking business. Excuse my French. You know, that's an honest and a very good observation, John. It indeed does not suck. It does blow. and we don't mean cocaine. XLM's doing great, up 11%. XRP's up 8.8. What else? VeChain's up 13.5. Zill's up, man, Zill's still so fucking up 1.3 cents. A lot of this, even with these big rallies, all we're doing, like, Bitcoin's doing good, back over 103. But the altcoins are just stuck in this perpetual range. If we could just break out, and we haven't even looked at XRP yet, but this is so beautiful. See how we broke over 222 now in today's terms? Same thing we've talked about for the last so many days. As long as we stay in this range, we have an inverse head and shoulders. We just need to pull up. We're starting to pull up, folks. We break 240, we are in business to 265. The moment you break above 265, $3 becomes open. $3 becomes open. So it's a big thing, and like in the Telegram, they know what I hold. I just don't always speak of it in the lives and stuff. But you know, there wasn't a big expansion. Like, I still have side cash. The only thing that I did of significance, and it's something that I've been judging myself on for the last about 24 hours, but what I seen in the meetings, it was bearish for, at least in the short term, for mining stocks and gold and silver. Like, it didn't seem good with the way they were doing things. And what, it was a very hawkish, it wasn't dovish, it was a very hawkish speech by Jerome Powell yesterday. So I made a decision that I haven't made in a very long time, and I ended up liquidating my mining stocks. And I showed Juliet, and I was not aware that they had increased to the value that they had, but they're a pretty nice chunk of change now. And when I told her, I'm like, I think it was a good idea, because I made the catastrophic flip thinking, well, it wasn't catastrophic, but it's just something you kind of can see and feel when you're watching things. And it did it. Yesterday it did it. And with the speech, it started reversing. And the first thing you see was gold double topped. Immediately you could see a double top. And it made me nervous. So now I made the decision that I'm just going to liquidate everything, and then I'm going to watch it. And ironically, the only thing I had this morning was Pan America Silver when I showed Julie that I was selling, or what I had sold, and Pan America was the only thing up with good earnings. So I just got rid of it on good earnings. And that portfolio has grown, and now I have like $40,000 in the mining stocks. No, Frankie, listen. I didn't sell precious metals. You gotta listen. Mining stocks, friends. Mining stocks. Gold, silver, I don't sell. The precious metals are not for sale. I couldn't care less if gold and silver drops as a whole. I just don't like to keep my money in the mining stocks after a big move up if I feel like something's wrong. It's a perpetual flip. It's just a perpetual flip right now. Gold and silver is always a good buy. I think silver's a great buy right now, even if the price is going down, because every time you buy it, you want it to be a little bit cheaper. But it's going to go way up. This could end up being a very bad move. It just looks like a decent move in the interim. But tomorrow, it could go up 15%. I could be down. So it was just one of those moments. I wanted to reevaluate what I was holding. And sometimes after big rallies, I reevaluate by selling it all, especially in the stock market. I love reading the ones with their first silver. Silver is hot shit. Why is that? You know, it is what it is. But we're not going to talk about that right now. I just wanted to speak of something, because remember, when money leaves one avenue, it finds another. Right now, money left gold and silver and mining stocks, oil for the most part, and it found its way back into risk. Well, when you start to couple it with what you're seeing in the stock market, it's starting to make this tremendous push around. And it's not just because I'm like, oh, I'm just going to all of a sudden flip. We have a very defined left shoulder and head here, and it pushed into a right shoulder, and it validated it with a little bit of a push up the last 2 days. And it's very tedious moments. When it went down to the bottom, it formed a head. So we had an inverse left shoulder, inverse head, and this little spike right there is now going to end up forming, if this just pulls, even if it just comes up to right here, it's going to form this pull up. And then you're going to start seeing this. Even if it does that, you're still going to see it in there. Even if it does this, you'll see it in there. So it's starting to tell me that we formed a left shoulder head, and now we're forming the right shoulder. Crypto's doing the same thing. Gold and silver pulled back to give you the validation. And that's usually what happens. Now, I don't expect it to fall forever. I don't expect it to fall forever. But I do think it was ready for a pullback. Gold has moved up from $2,000 to almost $3,400 without any major pullback. And then it got in the double top area. If it gets into discovery area without a big pullback, I always get nervous. And then the mining stocks are having bad earnings. I said Q3 this year was going to be when I expect the big earnings. Q2, I mean, some of them were decent, but most of them were bad because they're not pulling it all out of the ground yet. Once they do, it's going to be glorious. Now, as far as crypto goes, what do we have to say? What do we have to say? We're over a very key resistance, and for the last about 6 months, whenever we would go over this range, even if it got up a little bit higher, it would always come back down. So what we need to do for XRP in particular is we've already done one thing. And look, we've already taken the 1 of 2 bullish routes, right? We've already taken the 1 of 2 bullish routes. And we broke out of this channel. We have the inverse head and shoulders. We already know about it. Boom, boom. And now this right shoulder took the 1 of 2 ways, bounced out. We'll have to get over this range in time. That's the technical push, and then it came down a little bit. But it'll get over that in time. But it's pulled itself into a range like this now to where we actually can make a move. We can legitimately make a move now if we can get over $2.40. It opened up the door here when it broke 222 in real time to end up making, actually in real time, let's see what it was today. Yeah, 222. Once it broke that, it opens the door to 240. It's exactly what we talked about this morning. If we could somehow overtake this, I think it was 8 point something percent over the top. Yeah, 8.4% over the top. So, and then would that cap the rally? Not necessarily, but you know, sometimes you would like to go 240 back to 222, back to 265. So like if you haven't bought yet and you see some of these assets like, oh, Tom said he upped his DGB to 2 million. Yeah, but I didn't say to do it at up 8.48% because there's a possibility that now it has to go down another 4 to 5% to retap the move up, even if it's bullish. But then again, it's still at 0.0095, and I've proclaimed forever that under a penny is when you can make a decision. So it's just, you know, do I kick myself for some things? You better fucking believe it. I didn't buy Filecoin. I didn't buy Theta. Why? Because Theta, I don't know why, to be honest with you. Theta actually hit my 62 cent zone, which was my first targeted buy zone. You know, but what did I end up doing? I ended up buying $4,000 more of DGB. So if you want a short answer, I went more on DGB because I have an obsession and I really think there's something big there. But other than that, I ain't got a big answer for you why I didn't buy Theta or Filecoin. Stupidity, stubbornness, being a moron. All of those are good. All of those are good answers and responses to why I didn't buy it. You know, so... let's see. But like as... overall, it's not looking horrible. I mean, it's looking pretty good today. ZBCN, I've been asked a lot by a lot of people. I was personally trying to wait to see if I could rebuy it at the 1.4 or 1.37 level because I believe that's a big inverse head and shoulders likely forming. And we've been waiting a while for it. And now that that handle is being built, I think it would be perfect if it bounced off that 1.37 one more time as a back test. And that's where I'm looking at. But I'm telling you right now, I think silver and gold, any kind of correction we get, any kind of correction is a smart move. And I'm hoping that mining stocks get a 15 to 25% sell-off to start next week, and I'm heavy front-loading back in. I don't know how much. It's going to be a pretty nice amount, though. But if it's down 15%, this is the goal. I've already saved 10% on a few of them. Overall, it's about probably 9%, 8% on the portfolio. If it gets up to 20%, I'm going to have a nice payday. I'm going to pay myself probably $6,000 to $8,000. And I'd probably just buy, I don't know what I would do with it. Could be silver bullion, but that's the goal, to take it down to 32. But I would need another 10 to 12% to make this happen. I'm trying to find a strategic way to pay myself some money. And then that would be 8,000 I pay myself back, but then I would still have the exact same holding. See, that's what I try to do. That's what I try to do. That's why I like BITUNIX, because I can swing trade and I can do things like that, just like I do in the stock market. So, but right now, crypto, I mean, I feel like something big is materializing in a way. We just got to get past these resistance. Like every single thing, it's still stuck in that exact same resistance spot. Like we need that small little tug. Just a small little tug. And I'll be honest, one of the only things that kept me from selling DGB, and I wish I was on a better exchange in that regard when it comes to DGB, I would have absolutely sold it right here and waited for that 10 to 15% drop like we knew was coming. And then I would have just bought it all back plus that. But on crypto.com, you can't do that. Look, that was a 12% drop we seen on the rejection. But I couldn't take advantage of it because crypto.com is so freaking expensive. Now, I know I can buy it on LBank. It's just I haven't tested it out as much on there to see if I can withdraw it. So it's kind of a, it's a weird thing. So instead, I took opportunity there and just added another 400,000 tokens when it was appropriate. But that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to add it without having to put more money, but that was one of them. I couldn't do it. But, sometimes you do what you got to do. And now we'll see how it materializes. This is going to be the most stressful time now for all of us. Yeah, it's great. It's great that that we're up, but right now is the most trying time. Because right now we can see our 10, 15%, because my portfolio is up like 12% today in crypto, which is beautiful across the board. So it's up like, I showed Julie before I came on, it was up like $2,800 or whatever today. 10.8% or something, 11%. But that could all be wiped away in a moment. And that's why I'm not too excited right now. I am excited. Don't get me wrong. When you make a couple thousand, you're excited. I'm excited. The problem is I need it to pass these death cross areas. I need it to pass these. See, Jorge's up 2,200 for real. See, beautiful. McMichael, thanks for being in town zone for 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Syrian, thank you so much. Jorge, both of you for being in town zone for over 6 months with the XP Predictor and being a very trusted mods. Did I see Tanya in here? Tanya, love, did I see you in here? Flo said, Tom, I noticed when Bitcoin tops, XRP also tops, so why do people say alt season 6 months after? No. That's the short-term, the short-term pattern that is following in these micro moves. The reason people are saying that about alt season, it's after Bitcoin. It's not going to be 6 months after. It's got to be when the Bitcoin dominance high. It's usually after Bitcoin tops the first time. You've got a waiting table. But I'm going to show you something with the M2 money supply. We're just a little bit behind. And Bitcoin's starting to come up there. Now, I feel like it's warranted to show you this. Tanya, I missed you too, Tanya, and I'm so sorry and heartbroken to hear about your brother's passing. I hope you found some solace, and comfort in the memories and the good times. It's never easy. And I appreciated the kind words about my aunt who passed away, I think the same day, unfortunately, or within 24 hours. But I mean, it's never easy. I think it's a little harder to lose a brother than an aunt, but it's all the same. They're all family, but it's just the different way it works, I do think it's harder to lose the, I don't know how we would call it, because that's like in your house, that's in your house with your brother. I think you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm glad to see you here. What I always find to help in trying times is just to bury yourself in work. Focus on like maybe fitness, working out, splurge. Well, maybe not splurge, but just try to, like, I've been doing a lot of gardening. I've been doing a lot of work. I've been working out a lot, obsessively probably. I like how people are telling me that somebody commented yesterday and said, Tom, put those guns away. I thought it was illegal to own those in Michigan. I thought it was illegal to conceal carry. I thought you had to conceal carry. So like certain things people say that make you laugh, but it's hard, man. It is hard. And I can only imagine. Like, I really don't know how you feel because I haven't faced that tragedy yet. in that exact way. It does. I agree, McMichael. It does allow us to see even clearer our own mortality. That's why I try to say, like, positivity over negativity. We got to unify with love. There's so much negativity and so much distraction and so much hate in the world. Like, I lost a part of me that wants to even be confrontational. I told Julie a couple days ago it happened. Like, not with her, I'm saying in general, even if I'm not being righted, like, if I can't make somebody see something, there's no point in me wasting energy to force them to see it or make them see it or make them understand. Like, all you can do, it's taken me 41 years to be able to say it this way, all you can do is put the information out there, and all you can do is guide people in a certain direction, and all you can do is make it known to a person what they need to do to either better themselves, to grow in what they're trying to do, to understand. But you need to put the information out. And what they decide to do with it, it's out of your hands. Like, it's out of my hands, it's out of your hands. All you can do from my mouth to God's ears, God's grace to my mouth, or the message, is that you just have to do it. And if they don't decide to follow, that's okay. You just have to be true to yourself. So, like, for me, my fitness, I do that personally. You know, that's not because Julie, that's not because the kid, nobody, that's me. You know, my show, that's me. And you guys, you know, that it ended up evolving into all of us. But I'm a very dedicated person, and it's hard sometimes, you know, it's hard. So, being 41 years old, one of the biggest things I've learned is you can only teach it. Don't try to make somebody, you know, put it into action. So you can't make them put it into action. So, like, I can show you the charts. I can show you the areas that I think are good and bad. We can discuss wave 4. And now maybe, just maybe, wave 4 is in fact bouncing earlier and not later. And we can have a 5-wave move here. And it'll be a little quicker. Ooh, we can do this in real time together because somehow it got deleted. Love it. Ooh, it makes me happy. So, if we're doing this, you're like, boom. Oh, that's an ABC. I don't want ABC. Click the wrong one. My bad. Because we were doing this as an impulse. So you'd go 1, kind of down here. Some people disagree. I really don't care. And then, like, right now, 4 would be right here. And if that's the case, like, then you could try to shoot it up here. In some fashion, if this plays out properly, I think it comes up there. The only question we've had for days on end, is does it do that, or do we have to push out like the last 2 times we've had a 5-wave and it was like 3.5 years? Now, some can argue this might be a micro move, and you might be able to make this a full 5-wave move here, in a sense, instead of breaking it down into a WXY or whatever heck 3-wave correction you want. Some could argue that this is in fact still in that 5th wave. But either way, I think just looking at it like this, it gives us a lot of hope. Because some people said wave 3 can't be greater than wave 1, or it invalidates it and things like that. I understand that. That's why if you look at it in a wave 4 to 5, it completely invalidated that entire structure. And that's why it had a WXY correction, or whatever, a 3-wave correction. I like WXY, it makes me feel good. And then it went into a 5-wave move, which is only done 4, so we don't know if it's completed 4. It's got work to be done. But I think that's what's going on. Like, we had a failed, it happens. It happens. I wish wave 5 to 7,000, but no, I'm thinking like that projected target when we started this bull run, $5.49. That doesn't mean XRP stops there. It just means that's where we gather, we reconnect, and then we try to figure it out, because that's the technical target out of this initial run out. So, and then possibly, if everything went right and you held 549, you could technically overreach to 679. That was the ultimate overreach. Before you have to fill the significant gaps, you know, that were left on the big push-up. We've already cleared a lot of it. Yes, MXC is cheap. That's the only one that I bought today, besides a little expansion, as you know, in DGB a little earlier. But the only one I bought today was MXC. And it's because they're going to have an update. And I wanted to buy it when it was cheaper. I mean, it was still down a little bit. It's pretty close. But I think in time, this is probably going to be one you just buy down. It's just my problem is I don't know if this is going to bounce out now, if it's got to come down farther and create a head like that, or if the head's already created, and just hear me out, if the head's already created, because it has done this a few times, so eventually it's going to round up. It's going to have no choice but to test the higher drop points at some point. But that could be one, that could be two, which means right now it's going to be starting to fill this out. Otherwise, if this is nothing, then this would be one, this would be two, then this would be three, which means, again, my same criticism of myself, or of why I was considering not buying it so heavily, because I was going to buy a lot more, and then I figured I would just buy it in a couple different parts, just in case it does drop off the cliff here, because I could see it doing that. Like, I could honestly see this doing this. And it's why I was skeptical, and I still am a little skeptical, because I could still see it creating that head. So we'll see. So if you're going in there, you know, go in with some wisdom, because that could very well cut you by a third. And then you would just have to be willing to understand it. So, and then we have to see, is all of this going to go, or is this an area where we should just sell everything and say, oh, we're up 10% in crypto, I'm up almost $3,000. Do I just sell the whole lot? No, probably not. But I can still see, I feel like we could still dump big. That's my problem. So I needed to prove it to me, but this is definitely a step in the right direction. The problem is I could see a massive sell-off. Like, that's my problem right now. I wish it wasn't. And I feel happy XRP's over 230 and some of these have pushed up past good ranges. But it doesn't change the fact that I could see a massive collaboration back down. So I just needed to clear some of these areas. That's what I'm trying to say. If you do appreciate my work, consider hitting that like button. We don't even, not even 50% at the like button. I must, well, that's okay. I can't force you. I can just only ask you. I can't lead you to water, but I can show you it. So, you know, hit the like button so YouTube will recommend this live. I would greatly appreciate it. It helps. Yeah, but listen, when you sell in May and walk away, you're not usually limping into May. Usually you're on a big rise. You're not usually, you know, limp dicking it into May. That's the big difference here, and I tried to explain that a few weeks ago. It may not be sell in May and go away, because we were in April and we were in February, March. It was shit. You know, we went away for 3 months. So, but I don't know. I don't know. Would this be great if this is the start of a big run? Abso-fucking-lutely. Am I skeptical? Abso-fucking-lutely. So, you know, all we can do is stay patient. All we can do is keep it real. And all we can do is keep watching. That's all I can do. And be transparent. You know, some people are like, oh, what's the importance of the micromanaging? It's not micromanaging. We're looking at the short to the long. So you have to know the micro to know the macro. Yeah, next FOMC meeting is in June. Absolutely is in June. Man, is it cold in the shade? I'm moving. I am moving. Michigan continue. Well, I'm not moving where I live, but I'm moving for this live. It's too damn cold over there. Like, literally, it was 78 degrees or 80 degrees yesterday. Today I wake up, it's 38. Tonight we have a frost warning. Like, Michigan, I love you. Well, I don't love that we're California Junior, but I love my state. I love how the weather changes. I just don't like when it goes from winter to summer in 24 hours. Because then you get sick. Yeah, it's no fun. Just no freaking fun. Oh yeah, we all need to stay confident. There's no doubt about that. Even when we're looking at the bearish zones, or we're talking bearish, that's not, I don't hate crypto. And I'm not against crypto. I actually really like crypto. It's just, I don't want overreach, and I want to ride into the sunset here on this next run. On the fifth wave, I feel like once we get to where we're going, we have to understand and acknowledge it's going to be a multi-year bear market like it always is. And I think if we do it right this time, we're all going to be fucking rich. We're all going to be rich. And like, I can only speak from my past experience of what these cycles can do. And right now, I mean, you know, we're in a cycle, but this is what I had posted, and you guys can read it. And that's just what I have up to date. And the Telegram can see it. and I updated it with the extra DGB that was added. But I don't have a large bag of a bunch of shit right now. Like I've said it many times. I got rid of H bar so that I could keep adding the DGB on drops. When H bar had a huge move. So like I don't have a crazy amount of everything. And I always say 12,000 plus with XRP and XLM because I'm not saying the exact amount. But it's somewhere. It's somewhere. Although I should have probably said 20. Well, never mind. It's fine. So, and then the only thing I don't have on there is the MXC. Yeah, I don't know why MXC's not on there. Huh. I mean, I put the MXC buys below and above. I wonder why that's not updated on there. 2.18. I honestly don't know why that wasn't updated. But I know I talked about it in the Telegram, so maybe that's why it wasn't. But that's the only thing I bought today. Besides, you know, upping a little bit on DGB. But literally in 2021 when I was doing that, in 2021 doing that, I didn't have as much money. Like everybody's like, oh, I wish I had that money. It's one cycle. That's it. Being able to buy the floor, sell the top of a bull market, buy during the bear market leading into the 21 bull market, selling towards the top of a right shoulder, and then buying the bottom of a bear market, and then letting it materialize here for the second time. That's the only difference. I went from like $8,000 over 100 in this cycle. You know, so it's not what it's that I do this every day. I've been doing this since March of 2021, March 24th, and I have not missed a single day. Like I'm literally here every day for a reason. And like I have some weird ways, like my commodities, I might punch myself in the face tomorrow. Because I'm having like post-traumatic stress not having my mining stocks. Like I can't even explain it. Like I'm having post-traumatic stress disorder. And even though the silver miners went down 11%, I'm still having post-traumatic stress. I still have all my precious metals, my gold and silver, but like all my paper positions when it comes to mining are gone right now. And it makes me have, but you know, and that's where it gets scary because then you start looking at it, it's like, holy fuck. I was able to diverge and do this and that. Now it's like, I don't know. I can't explain it. 35 to 50% of my daily struggle was about money a few years ago. 7 years ago, 99% of my struggle was about money. Today, 0% of my struggle, or about 1% of my struggle right now is about money. But then it's almost like can anybody relate to this? When you're broke, you're so worried about being broke and so worried about how you're going to pay the next bill that you kind of don't stress about anything except being broke. So you kind of forget about all the other shit that sucks. But the moment you start making money, you start to realize, oh my God, there's a bunch of other shit that sucks too. It's almost easier being broke because then I'm so worried about being broke, I don't have to worry about all the other shit. Has anybody else ever felt that way? Like, it's weird. They don't teach you that in school. They should. Oh, good, some people can. Being broke, being frugal. There you go. And you know what's funny? Well, maybe not funny. I learned so much from not having any money for most of my life. Like I would consider myself better off than most people, at least now, only because it's such a struggle when you figure out like 75% of people have credit card debt that's at the limit. So they're literally paying the minimum payment to use the credit card. Or you know that 9 out of 10 of your neighbors that have nice vehicles, they're leasing them, or they bought them and it's going to take 7 years to pay them off. You know, or seeing stuff like that, and then you realize things and you're like, man, I know some of our struggles suck, but the one thing that I have to keep telling myself is with crypto, and I have to keep telling myself with gold and silver, 95% of retail hasn't even stepped in the pot yet. 95%, or especially in crypto, well, gold and silver too, but we'll do this from a crypto perspective. This is the institutions game in Missouri right now, and it's fucking awesome. If Missouri does this, and I already love Missouri football, if Missouri, those copycat with the Michigan kind of style, Missouri, if they actually do this, oh my God, they're gonna allow President Trump to put a no capital gains tax on crypto and the stock market. Missouri's actually pushing a bill right now, or maybe it's passed by now, and it's for no capital gains in the stock market or crypto. Could you imagine if we get to trade crypto without capital gains? I'd be swing trading in and out, flying high. So, oh my God, it'd be a completely different show. 50% of this show would be our long bags. 50% of this show would be how the fuck do we make the most money in the next 24 hours? Because right now it gets hard with capital gains because you have to have that money on hand. So you might make a lot of money on one trade and then lose it all. And then you're like, oh shit, I still own it. It passed the House and is on the governor's desk. Oh my God, come on. I live in Michigan, so the only chance of this happening would be if the federal government passes a mandate, which is what needs to happen, but the states can force it. But it's not in Michigan, it's in Missouri. I wish it was in Michigan. We'll be saying the great state of Missouri. Where the hell am I at? I don't even know where I'm at. Middle of nowhere. But I mean, if they do it, that's the domino effect. Remember the medical marijuana dispensaries started in one state to the next, to the next, to the next, and now federal, they don't even give a fuck. But it's in Missouri. But now, before I forget, I want to show you something about the M2 money supply real quick. Where's this at? I can't see shit. I can't see anything. Oh, right here. Holy hell. Sorry about that. Just almost took out the whole audience. So when you look at Bitcoin versus the M2 global money supply, and this was when Bitcoin was at 99,000. This is almost following this verbatimly now. So I've been watching it. We've talked about the money supply a little bit. I only showed this chart one time early on. But now the fact it even created the W and is starting to push up, this is where Bitcoin would theoretically end up if that's a left shoulder. And if it follows the global money supply. So technically, if it follows it the way it's supposed to, technically we should be able to fall somewhere between 128 and 148 with no problem. So... and we're 108 days offset, which means we're 108 days behind technically, which puts us at the peak of this rally. So a lot of people are saying the big bull market's in July. Well, front forward 108 days to offset the difference. And where does that put you? I mean, that puts you June, July. I mean, that puts you at the heart of the rally too. So absolutely, they would be smart if dispensaries started accepting crypto. 100%. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to be excited about here, folks. Like, there is a lot of stuff to be excited about. Now, I'm going to tell you, I still expect gold to reverse very hard. And like I said, I had a very strategic plan. If it doesn't pan out and I have to buy it back slightly cheaper, so fucking be it. But I seen one small opportunity. Now, it could fade away before the morning even comes. And I'll know that if crypto starts the deep dive here. So 8 o'clock is very important for us in crypto. I'm just going to tell you 8 o'clock is very important. We want to see what kind of hold we can make. If we get a close over 229 would be great for XRP. That's a huge resistance level. I would say right now resistance 1 was 222, resistance 2, 229, resistance 3 is $2.40. And then if you want to do a support 1, $2.22 right now because we're up to resistance 2. Underneath that would be somewhere around $2.07 and then $1.98. I think that's pretty fair. If you want to go over the top, if you break the third resistance at $2.40, $2.65 is the ultimate right now pivot point resistance. So a lot to be determined, a lot to be desired. A few more minutes here and then I'm going to go inside because Michaela's going to be here shortly and she's a type 1 diabetic, so I want to make sure the salmon's ready when she gets home. I know it's almost done cooking, but I want to make sure to get everything plated and do what I got to do. For her, plated and do what I got to do. But if you are watching, make sure you pay attention to BITUNIX, especially right now. Because you can swing trade, and I've told this story. I kicked myself over and over and over. In 2021, when I didn't have the wherewithal, hell, until the end of 23, when I started figuring out all of the exchanges, because I actually took the chance of going to all of them, I found out something crazy. One, BITUNIX always had XRP. Didn't know that. No KYC, no VPN. They are an exchange. We have to deposit or withdraw from a different exchange by asset or wallet, not from bank to bank. But it's the lowest fees I've seen in the USA. It feels illegal. I know there's some of you who are using it right now and it's changed your world like it has mine, because it's so fucking cheap that I can actually swing trade on the spot and not have to worry about it. And it's hidden. Like I haven't signed up, nothing. But it's definitely a big difference. There's other ways. If you're inclined to join the Telegram, I would love to see you in there. Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, if you want to send a YouTube, a way of monetary donation without sending a YouTube super chat. We've had 2 of those tonight. You can join Tom's Army, which would be very appreciative, as I like to throw back into the program. And then what else? What else is on here? The Telegram. HOTCOIN's a great option for spot trading. Futures, it's a little more expensive than Bitcoin. They have a lot of stuff there, IOTA and so many other things. But yeah, I have crypto.com for DGB and the crypto debit card, which I absolutely love because it's a Visa. And then you just front load it. And that's it. That's basically it for all that shit. Oh, thank you all for the 36,300 subscribers. We went over the next 100 today, which is awesome. Awesome. You know, some people said they didn't like my new style in the morning. It's funny because I got some complaints, but the likes went way up. The likes are probably up 25% since I switched it in the morning, which is weird. The views are a little down, but that usually happens when my video length end up longer or shorter and they flip. Well, some views were up, actually. What am I talking about? But it's weird. It's always the growing and trying to figure it out from a deeper perspective. Randy, no problem, Randy. I feel like I missed a donation from somebody. Somebody sent a... Let me get my phone. Somebody sent a $10 donation, and I know I missed it. Unless I said thank you already, and I just forgot because I talk so much. Which is possible. I did have a closed head injury when I was 25, which I had frontal lobe damage. Had short-term memory loss. So, you know, who knows? Maybe it's kicking back in. Let's see. Let's go into the live. Just want to make sure I thank everybody. Is it not? Oh, there it is. Here we go. Let's go up a little bit farther. Hallowed Nation, thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for your second month with the Dusty Autos Crypto News, but also the $10 donation. Now, for anybody who left, that sucks because we didn't even go over the Missouri bill yet. I said we're almost done. I didn't say we were done. We usually do it for almost an hour, at least right around an hour. We're only at 48 minutes, which we got about 5 to 7 minutes, even if I am rushed today. Missouri capital gains. This would be the craziest fucking thing. I would be so happy. Of course, I don't live in fucking Missouri, but eventually it'll come here. I'm telling you, eventually it'll go worldwide, countrywide. This is the next big play. You know why I think they're getting rid of capital gains? Because then no one's going to give a fuck if we go digital. We're going to say, oh my God, they got rid of capital gains. You do whatever the hell you need to do in the digital. We don't care. We're not paying taxes. I'm telling you. That's, I think, what's happening. Missouri bill ending capital gains tax heads the governor for signature. Missouri will become the first U.S. state to eliminate the levy if Governor Mike Kehoe signs the bill into law. Missouri House Bill 594, a bill that would eliminate capital gains tax in the U.S. state, has passed the vote in the State House of Representatives and now heads the Missouri Governor Mike Kehoe's desk for signature. According to attorney Aaron Brogan, the bill stipulates a 100% income tax deduction for any capital gains income because the Missouri tax code does not explicitly distinguish between capital gains and income tax. So here's the note. House Bill number 594, first regular session, 103rd General Assembly, introduces by Representative Perkins. An act to repeal section, here, let's do it like this. To repeal section 143.121 RSMO and to enact in lieu thereof one new section relating to an income tax deduction for capital gains. So section A, section 140, so is repealed and one new section enacted in lieu thereof to be known as section 143.121 to read as follows. 141.121.1. Rule number 1. The Missouri adjusted gross income of a resident individual shall be taxpayers' federal adjusted gross income subject to the modification in this section. There shall be added to the taxpayers' federal adjusted gross income the amount of any federal income tax refund received for a prior year which resulted in a Missouri income tax benefit. The amount added pursuant to this subdivision shall not include any amount of a federal income tax attributable to a tax credit, reducing a taxpayer's federal tax liability pursuant to Public Law 116-136 or 116-260, enacted by the 116th United States Congress for the tax year beginning on or after January 1st, 2020, and ending on or before December 31st, 2020, and deducted from Missouri adjusted gross income pursuant to section 143.171. The amount added under this subdivision shall also not include any amount of a federal income tax refund attributable to a tax credit, reducing a taxpayer federal tax liability under any other federal law that provides direct economic impact payments to taxpayers, mitigated financial challenges related to the blah 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 19 pandemic, and dedicated from Missouri adjusted. And that, yes, JW, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can hear you, I just can't see you. And deducted from Missouri adjusted gross income under section 143.171. Frankie Fresh, thank you for the $4.99 donation. Also being in Tom's Army for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Says, God bless you, Tom. God bless you as well. Don't forget to give thanks to your Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on this beautiful and cold but beautiful Thursday, because we're all together. We're all together. You simply don't know what tomorrow brings. Somebody out there right now, we don't know who. We don't know if it's one of us. It could be the last time we ever meet together. Maybe not out of death, but out of just, we might go our separate ways. So let's make the best of it while we're all together. Interest on certain governmental obligations excluded from federal gross income shall not apply to interest on obligations of the state of Missouri or any of its political. Explanation. Matter enclosed in bold-faced brackets, thus in the above bill, is not enacted and is intended to be omitted from law. Matter in bold-faced type in the above bill is proposed language. So that's what I got, everybody. I'm going to go help Julie. Michaela's going to be here in about 8 minutes. I know I've done my due diligence tonight. I'm proud of myself. I had a very busy day, but we still dedicated enough to do this. And I'm very happy. Algorand being at 22.2 cents kind of says it all. I think we had the right message today. I think we're in the right mindset. I would still pay attention to the gold, the silver, mining stocks. If they're going to correct even more, I would definitely pay attention to them. But I would look for, if I'm being honest, I would look for a quick turnaround here. I would look for a quick turnaround. I'm hoping for another 10% drop just because they kind of punch each other in the face sometimes and we get these short covers. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. But for crypto, let's see how the close goes. 229 at 8 o'clock would be spectacular. Anything over 222 is a win. But if you're under 229, you remain under a pivot point on the close. And other than that, join the Telegram. If you're in the Telegram, you get to see a lot more. You get to hear a lot more. And then there's so many good people there. So have a